Welcome back to Sunrise Daily. We still have Mr. Eyo Ekpo, who is the Commissioner, Market, Competition and Rates for the NERC here with us, speaking about Lagos Economic Summit power issues. But you know, when you talk about power, it transcends the entire country. And so that's why we have to take a look at some of the questions you are sending to him. Okay, Magba had
yes, I was talking about communication and how, you know, if it's possible to enforce that. Because we have a respondent here who is, you know, saying that what Nigerians are expecting is not miracles. This is from Power Up Nigeria. But the truth always. You were making reference to how many megawatts. I mean, what used to be the case where you would get to hear that, oh, we're producing 4,000 megawatts. Oh, in the next 1 year, we hope to produce 10,000 megawatts. And you have all the standards. But we're looking at, you know, things like you used to have electricity 12 hours a day. Now you have 2 hours, or maybe you don't even have anything. We're looking at, is it possible for distribution companies to be able to communicate when cases arise in such instances, not because more electricity haven't been produced, but as to why consumers are generally experiencing that kind of shortfall?
I think in the Lagos area there has been some of that. I know for a fact that the Eko and Ikeja Disco have had joint communication to customers within the Lagos State area, explaining what's going on and what they're trying to do. Whether that has happened repeatedly and often enough is a different question entirely, but I do know that there has been that communication. I was saying earlier on that at the end of the day, after that momentary respite is given in terms of letting you know what's going on, the next question always comes. So when is it going to be a different story?
Yeah.
All right? And that's something which always gets a negative response from people, because you have to be told that now we need to be patient here. You know, we need to actually understand that engineering the service that you need and putting it in place is not going to happen overnight. Nobody's going to wave a magic wand and then power plants and transmission lines and all that will spring up. That does take time, but the work has been done. And I think that really is what needs to be constantly explained by the distribution companies.
We've got this question. It's a summation of a number of questions, actually. They like to know that when you talked about the fixed charge, they wonder, does it mean that the fixed charge pays for the staff salaries, the rent?
No, it doesn't.
It doesn't?
It doesn't. You can call the fixed charge the cost of the fixed assets, the things that are planted in the ground. Okay? And there are quite a few of those. And you see them every day. Power plants, transmission lines, service stations, injection substations and all that. That's what your fixed charge covers. And if you think about it, that's something like 60% of the cost of the entire business, in most cases even higher than that. So you would expect that for every 1 naira of your tariff, 60 kobo goes to pay for that fixed charge. In the country today, it's something like 20 kobo. Now, the rest is the cost of taking care of the staff, the salaries, administrative costs, overheads, daily maintenance of these assets, and that's what your service charge covers.
Oh, okay. Does government still fund NERC? What was the model?
For what?
Running NERC.
NERC is funded by a regulatory charge, all right, which is paid by the distribution companies, the generation companies. And of course, that money then, of course, obviously comes from the customer itself. Okay, now, funding independent of government for a regulatory agency is standard, it's a classic practice, just trying to insulate you from influence from the government. You can give any typical example. As I say, he who pays the piper dictates the tune. Government is only one of the major stakeholders in the entire value chain or the matrix of providing any kind of service at all. And it's not every time, it's not all the time that the government's views are the best when compared with other views. And so if you want to insulate yourself from undue influence, not just from government, but also from even players themselves, you need to try and find some kind of independent income. So that's how you have that.
There are some who say that their experience, they don't use, prepaid. They've got this estimated metering system. Yeah. And what they experience is that when they have this challenge, or they give them bills that they find they don't understand the transition. How come some of them used to pay 2,000-3,000 naira, then the next bill they see as much as 15,000 naira? When they go back to those companies to find out why is this, can you correct this, this must be a mistake, they tell them, pay first. that if you don't pay that bill first, we can't attend to you because it has already been entered into the system. Why does this happen? What can they do in the circumstance?
Well, what you usually get is not pay first. Actually, you get disconnected. Sort of put pressure on you. That's changing. Estimated billing probably provides, I'd say, something like 60% of revenues of
60%?
Of quite a few discos. Not all of them, but quite a few, and that's too high. The paradox, which you may find hard to believe, is that quite a few consumers also don't like meters. All right? Because corruption works both ways. Okay? My consumption is something like 6,000 a month. I pay you 1,000, and I get estimated bills for something like 1,500, 2,000. The bulk of that revenue is then paid by a very small group of consumers who get imposed upon. The message I'm trying to send here is that, and I suspect that we all know people, all right, who are in this kind of very happy situation of consuming electricity, paying very little for it, and then somebody else pays. We are the ones that pay the cost of the corruption. All right, that is done not just by the discos but also by the consumers. You also have consumers who don't want meters. All right, and they paid not to have meters. You also have consumers who don't believe that they will get meters if they apply for them, and so they just continue to exist in their unhappiness. And again, it comes back to the communication thing that Mark talked about. You know, you have to tell people that these things are there, and there you have a bit of a challenge, because we in NERC have sort of changed or put in place a methodology for trying to keep estimates a little bit more sensible. The uptake on it is slow. People don't tell us what is going on, you know. And at the end of the NERC, it's almost like the police. You depend on good community relations. You depend on the market saying to you that this is what is happening. People are complaining. People are talking.
So in this case, what should people do if they face this kind of challenge? If they are told to go and pay first, that it has been clocked into the system, that if you don't pay, we can't do anything.
You shouldn't accept that. That's the truth. You should not accept that. You should make a complaint. All the discos now have customer forums and customer care centers located there. The question that you might ask is, so where are they? I can't tell you where they are, all of them. I know that where we are, Eco Disco has a forum. The forum, what we call the forum, is sort of a panel where disputes between consumers and the discos are resolved. And the Eco Forum is at the Eco headquarters at Marina. The Ikeja Forum is at the Ikeja headquarters in Alausa. So people can go in there. And both discos actually have customer care units in those headquarters and in their business units where you can go to and complain. I understand. I saw on Twitter recently a number of a customer care number for Eco Disco. I think it was either Eco or Ikeja. I can't quite remember now. I think it was Ikeja. Where you can call in and you have a call center. The thing, of course, is that the call center, the first thing you hear is that we work Mondays to Fridays between 8 and 5, which is not the way a call center should be, or a customer care center should be. But at least you've got them doing that. So we're talking to them and saying that, look, you must have a 24-hour service here. You can't do 9 to 5, you know, and say that you're serving customers. It doesn't work that way. But so that will change, but at least it's there.
Okay. All right. I'm afraid we're being wound up. We're out of time on this one, but whenever you talk about power,
there are so many questions.
Of course, lots of responses.
And they never end. And you always get people who are usually even more dissatisfied after you speak.
No, but it's important at least you give some information out. I mean, as some of them appreciate that you have spoken about, there's still too many of them. But we can't go any further today. But what we'll do, we will maybe get NERC's Twitter account so that you can talk to them about this. Maybe Mr. Eyo Ekpo's as well. You know, so it could be useful. You never can tell. Well, we've been speaking with Mr. Eyo Ekpo, who is the Commissioner, Market Competition and Rates of the NERC. I have to get that right. Thank you for coming on this morning.
Thank you.
Okay, well, that's it today on Sunrise Daily. Don't forget, focusing on this Lagos Economic Summit where we are. We're live from there today, and we'll be coming to you much later in terms of programming as well. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time. I'm Chamberlain Uso.
Well, thank you. I'm Maupe Ogun.
Oh, many thanks. I'm Sulaiman Lede.
Bye now.